Rebekah always says when talking about the holy days.
It's about walking in rhythm with Yah, your Elohim, all year long. Hello and welcome. Shalom, shalom, scattered Israel and ladies of Teshuvah and your families. I am Rebekah bat Yahovah, and welcome to the Happy Hippie Hebrew Girls Show, Season 2. This is a show dedicated to helping you do what you have learned. Yay! I'm super nervous, but I'm so excited to be here. I think you're going to like it. Tonight, hi everyone, Isaac is in the house, and we are going to talk tonight about Yom Teruah, about how to celebrate, how to plan it, and how to celebrate it. So he's going to come join me right here in just a few minutes. And so for the next 90 minutes or so, actually it's not quite 90, it's a little less than that now, and join me for a fresh approach to how to walk this narrow path of the Melchizedek priesthood in a way that honors the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and definitely his son Yeshua HaMashiach. But first, a word from our sponsor. This show is sponsored by Teshuvah Ministries, promoting a simple understanding of salvation and of the royal Melchizedek priesthood. Visit www.teshuvahministries.com for more. Good evening and welcome to the newsroom. I am Rebekah bat Yahovah, and tonight we are going to look at like father, like son. Once again, where and when does Yeshua echo the Father? So tonight we're going to look at where he says, do not be troubled. So yes, let's look at what Yeshua says here. In John 14:27, he addresses this issue. He says, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not the peace that the world gives, but I give you real peace, real shalom. Do not let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. All right, and then he goes into telling some more, but he says, do not let your heart be troubled and do not be afraid. All right, let's look at how he echoes the Father. We're going to look first in Deuteronomy 20 verse 3. 20 verse 3 says, when you go to war, he talks about how when you're going to war and stuff, and he says, hear, O Israel, today you are going into battle against your enemies. Do not be faint-hearted or afraid. Do not be terrified or give way to panic before them. For Yehovah your Elohim is the one who goes with you to fight for you. Ah, so cool. And he's going to fight for you against your enemies to give you the victory. Wow, do not let your heart be afraid. And then we're going to look one more place, Isaiah 41:10, and this is all over the scriptures, all over the scriptures everywhere, but we're going to look just at a couple. Isaiah 41:10 says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your Elohim. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So there you have it. My friends, one more place in the scriptures where there is proof that Yeshua came to speak the Father's words. He echoes the Father in heaven, Yehovah Elohim, YHVH, Yahweh Elohim, the great one, the great I am, the Melchizedek. So until next time, I am Rebekah Bat Yehovah. Well, welcome. I hope you like the show so far. I have lots of segments that I worked on this summer for you. So I have Isaac with me, my hubby. And this is just a little moment. I wanted to chat with the family. Sometimes I'll have the rest of the family here. Sometimes Hadassah and Maggie will join us. And we're just going to chat for a few minutes as if we were sitting on the couch with you and just talking about life. So right now, I guess I just wanted to chat a little bit about the summer. So we're back. This is season 2. If you're brand new to the show, we did the Happy Hippie Hebrew Girl season 1 last year. It was a fly by the night. You know, it was something that I just jumped into and didn't really know what I was doing. I learned a lot and spent this whole summer kind of contemplating and dreaming up what I wanted the show to look like this next year.
You did a good job. It's a fun show.
Thank you. I think it will be. I think we've ironed out some of the technology. I've invested in a few products to help.
Rebecca's got some new toys.
Yeah, I do.
Doing things a little different, a lot differently on this end.
Yeah,
So,
a lot differently. So if you're wondering, this is not my preferred background, but just the way it has to be today. At some point, I have like a really nice, I have other stuff.
Stay tuned.
Stay
Things keep changing.
Okay, let's talk about the summer though real quick. So I know that there were storms all over the world, basically everywhere. People were dealing with stuff. In our area, we dealt with smoke.
There's no safe place.
No,
apparently.
Only in Papa's hands. Wherever Papa wants you is a safe place.
Yeah.
So he'll protect, and he did. But we dealt with smoke, like a blanket of smoke from July 22nd to last week, and actually it's been in and out this week.
Firestorm, basically.
Firestorm 2018.
We're surrounded by thousands of fires, literally, wildfires.
1,900 at one point.
Yeah.
1,900 of them. And I don't know if you saw, I wanted to have a little image here that I captured of the U.S. and all the fires and stuff at one point, and it looked like the whole West Coast was on fire.
Right.
And literally the West Coast was like under smoke. And a lot of you probably have dealt with that because, you know, it affected a lot of people.
Right.
But I got so tired of it. Like some of these segments I shot this summer, the smoke was so bad that I had to put the mask on between to breathe. I know. I had to go really fast trying to get out of here because a lot of them were outside. But Hadassah and I fled the smoke a little bit ago, or last week, 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, something like that. We fled the smoke. So other things that happened this summer though, Hadassah went to summer camp. Super fun. Yeah. She's not here to tell you about it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, just me today. But Hadassah will be on later. She had a blast.
She had a blast at summer camp. Even though there was smoke, she had a blast. She loves that. And then harvest. We've been doing a lot of harvest. We got wood last week.
Yeah. So I thought you were talking about food.
Well, yeah.
That was the last thing we got was
we harvest all kinds
of firewood.
Things. Yeah, we started as harvesting morels, and it moved into strawberries and raspberries and
I found some blackberries when I was out on the road over towards the coast.
He would come home with a whole bin full, or his, what do you call that?
My cooler.
Your cooler, thank you. He would come home with his cooler completely packed with blackberries.
All the storage containers that I was eating the food out of all week, then I would refill them all with blackberries.
And then, that was I gave him so much love for like bringing me blackberries.
Yeah, she kind of flipped.
I was so excited. That's better than flowers for me. You fill my freezer with berries for the winter, and it's super good. So yeah, we had a good time.
Huckleberries out in the mountains.
Huckleberries. Oh, and I did applesauce last week.
Yeah.
I did applesauce. So on my way home from fleeing the smoke, I stopped by Mount Hood and got, at the base of Mount Hood, there's a really cool orchard.
Yeah, fleeing meant that she and Hadassah drove
we just
to the coast
said we're done.
To find some clean air for a few days.
To breathe some clean air, so yeah. Anyway, that was cool. So, one thing during this I wanted to do, this is, Hadassah has made us one envelope per week. She's colored it, and inside there is somebody's comment or something they have sent us. So I'm going to have Isaac open that and read that. And then I just wanted to share what people say about our ministry and what we do. I spent, while he's open that, I spent so much time this summer on the show, so I so hope that you enjoy it. All right, go ahead.
All right, are we going to name the name?
You can say the name, but just not the last name. So I don't think the last name is on there.
All right, so this was from Jessica. She said, I feel like Yehovah is removing so many distractions right now so that I can really have the time to dedicate to learning his ways. And then you show up, smiley face. And I feel like this is the most amazing opportunity to learn just how it all is to be done. No more unlearning.
I like that.
I get that. Yesterday was amazing. I've been looking for a way to learn more about the feast for so long, and I know that yesterday's workshop was just the beginning of some great dedication on my part to make sure that moving forward, I am doing all I can in my power, with Yahweh's help, to bring the feast into our family's rhythm as well. I hope to see you all again, Yahweh willing.
Yay! I love nice, wonderful emails and stuff like that. In fact, if you want to send me one in the mail, there you go. Like snail mail. All right. Well, thank you, Isaac. I think we are... I have a cool segment that I'm going to show right now. This was the best day of the entire summer for me. So here we go.
Nice.
Welcome to Campfire with Bruce and Rebekah. The next song we're going to sing is You Are My Hiding Place, and I actually love to sing this during the Feast of Trumpets out on the beach together in a circle. This is just a really beautiful song. You are my hiding place. You always fill my heart with songs of deliverance. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say I am strong in the strength of Yahweh. I will Elohim. Okay, so I want to explain who Bruce is, because I have to say, isn't that a beautiful song? So Ali, I know that I had some ladies, Ali, who's like, I hope it's that, an old song that I remember. Anyway, I love that song, and we use that song for Yom Teruah. At the end of Yom Teruah, we gather on the beach and do this group hug, kind of like a camp style hug, something I learned at camp. And you basically go in a circle, put arms around each other, and then Bruce would always do this when I was a staff at camp, and we would have 80 staff. We'd get in this huge hug, and Bruce, who's on stage right there, he would put his foot out and he'd say, okay, everybody take one step forward, and it would always be fun because he'd always squish. But at that time, we would do group prayer, and it would be open prayer. And that's kind of what we do on the beach. But then we sing this song, You Are My Hiding Place, because I think it could use a lot of verses there, but I really like that. But Bruce I've known Bruce for about over 30 years. He was involved with the camp, like he was a camp director at one point, and he was maintenance. He was Isaac's boss for many years. He was on my advisory board for my business, my ministry that I had before to Christian camps across the country. So him and I go way back. He's scared me to death during our interview. When I interviewed to get to camp, he scared me so bad because he'd just sit back and just scowl at me, while the other interviewer was like sitting in the front of his seat going, yeah, I can't wait to know about Rebekah. Anyway, it has to have been one of the best days of the entire summer, was sitting on that stage with him and shooting that segment. So we shot all day on that stage, and just to have him be there. He almost died a while ago from a lawnmower falling on him, and he told me the story, and I would just be heartbroken if anything happened to him, because I just loved him so much. So I was so blessed to be with him, and I know I'm not the greatest singer in the world, but he has done this. He has accompanied and been on stage doing song service for camp forever, for 30, 40 years or whatnot, and he knows how to just be patient with the song leaders, and I so appreciated that. He is super good at music and guitar. He's trying to show me chords, and I'm like, he's way above me. So he taught me how to water ski, taught me how to, anyway, I could go on and on. But so that's who Bruce is. Now during this little segment, we're going to work on the Avinu prayer again together. And this season, we're going to focus on the forgiveness part of the prayer. So last season, we focused on the sanctify his name part. This season, we're going to focus on the forgiveness part, forgive us our debts as we forgive those who sin against us or wrong us, kind of thing. We're going to really push into that this year. But today I'm not ready to do that, so we're just going to keep on going with the show, and we will start the Avinu prayer, which is the Father's prayer, the Lord's prayer that Yeshua taught us to pray. We'll start that, continue that or whatnot next week. So let me see. Oh, I have a fun segment for you. You're going to love this. Okay. prophesied that one day Papa Yah will actually bring you home to the land, plant you in the land for good to stay. But perhaps before then, you get to visit.
Last ago, we went to visit Israel.
Yes, we did. Our family got to go visit Israel. So Hadassah and I have 3 travel tips for you today. Travel tip number 1. Learn how to say the word hello. Hello. Hebrew. Make your life a little easier when you try to interact with the Jewish locals. So how do you say the word hello in Hebrew?
Shalom.
Shalom. Now, of course, shalom means a whole lot of things, but shalom means also hello in Hebrew. So travel tip number 2, along with the gum you packed for the trip and your little CBD rub for your muscles, your tired muscles, and of course, your toothpaste. Don't forget to bring your passports. Tip number 3 is remember to get your passports early. Right, Hadassah? Because they do take a little while to get in the mail. And also remember that your expiration on your passport must be 6 months from the time that you enter Israel. That is the way the rules are at this point.
Can't wait to meet you in Israel.
So remember, it is his land, and no matter what people are doing on it or to it right now, the prophecy says that one day the scattered will come back, clean it up, and call it home. Yah bless your journey to his land. Shalom. Shalom. Oh, hi! What are you doing in my storage unit? You want me to tell you a story? I would absolutely love to tell you a story. This is actually a really fabulous location to tell a story because there's so many memories here in my storage unit. So, yeah, I could tell you a story. Well, come on in and sit down. Are you good? All right, kiddos. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, I was a little girl. And yes, it was a long time ago. And I had grandparents when I was a little girl on both sides. And perhaps I will tell you about them. Yeah, that's the story I will tell you today. In fact, this beautiful, I don't know if you can see it, but this beautiful, whoa, there's some more memories right there, huh? Maybe I'll tell that story later. Look right here. See this quilt? This is a handmade quilt from my grandma on my dad's side. Now, my grandma on my dad's side had 13 children, and each one of those children, most of them had lots of kids themselves, and so on and so forth. So my grandma on my dad's side would have huge family reunions. Now, I never knew my grandpa because he died before I was born, but my grandma loved to quilt. So her whole house was full of quilting squares. You'd walk down the hallways, and on the left and on the right there'd be these patchwork squares. So some of these, like, there would be only the pink here piled up, or she would have it started where she'd have this whole square right here already started, maybe piled up. Well, she put together quilts for every single one of her family members, and this is the one she gave me. And as you see, it's really ratted and pretty old because I've had it for most of my life. It's a beautiful quilt. So my grandma on that side of the family, she reminded me of like an Indian. She would garden. She would stand up and then lean fully over and then weed and do all her gardening things that way. And I totally remember that. I also remember in her garden there in Oregon, my dad, when he was little, had built her a fruit house. It was called a fruit house, like a kind of like an above ground cellar. And it was, I think it was painted teal and maybe pink. I think it was something like that. It was made out of logs, and these logs were painted. It was so funny. But she would have all kinds of canned goods and jars of applesauce and pears and all kinds of stuff in there that would keep all winter long. And I remember that very distinctly. I know my dad built her house when he was like 16, 17, 18, something like that. I just have very fond memories of that that clan. It was like a tribe. There's so many of them. When we get together, it'd be huge family reunions on that side of the family. I was told that my grandma came over on a wagon train, and that she would hitch the horses and take care of all the horses when they came over from the Dakotas. But I have recently found out that it may not be a true story, but nevertheless, I love that story. I think it's cool, kind of the wild spirit of my grandma. But in contrast, on my mom's side, she was an only child. So here my dad's one of 13 and my mom's the only child. They were immigrants from Europe, and my grandma, my mom's mom, she was so sweet. I loved her. She was kind of jolly, and my grandma, on the one I just told you about, who liked to weed in the garden, and my dad's mom, she was kind of big, and she would wear muumuus, and she kind of looked like really tanned and kind of wrinkled and all that. But on my mom's side, my mom's mom was, kind of somewhat the opposite. She was still a little full, but she was fair-skinned, and she had little curly white hair, but she wore a neck brace because she had broken her neck earlier in her life. She was so sanguine. She would always be sitting on the phone. They had a little tiny house, little white house, and I'll never forget her sitting in her kitchen talking on the phone. In the 60s and the 70s, you can imagine the kind of kitchen that looked like. And to chat, lots of gossiping, which she loved to do. But I remember her telling my sister and I, when my mom wasn't looking, that there were sugared cereal in the cupboard over there, and we could go get that and snack on that. It wasn't a yard per se, it was kind of like a field next to their house, theirs, and they had some trees, fruit trees and whatnot, and my sister and I would climb these trees and sit in there. And I remember Grandma bringing out goodies for us to eat, like grilled cheese sandwiches and things like that, things that we didn't get at home very often, especially with Velveeta cheese. Oh yes. One of the other cool things about my grandma's, I remember in their home, it was super small, but they had TV trays. So when it was dinner time or any meal time, it was like whip out the dinner trays and sit in front of the TV and watch whatever Grandpa wanted to watch. How many of you have TV trays at home? Yeah, I don't have TV trays at home. But my grandma's mom, so my great grandma on my mom's side, so my mom's mom, she was super old, but she was one of 11 children, and when she was 18 years old, her parents sent her on a ship. This is a story that I am told. Her parents put her on a ship with all of her siblings at 18 years old and said, "Okay, bon voyage, we'll see you when we get there." So my great grandma took all her siblings over to America to immigrate on her own, and then the parents came later. But one thing about my great grandma I'll never forget, was she was very proper, extremely proper. And so we would, when we go over to her house to visit, we would go into her kitchen, and there in the kitchen, she would serve us cayenne pepper soup. Cayenne pepper is so hot, but she made soup out of it. And I tell you, I think that's the reason why she lived so long, is because she lived over 100 years old. I think she was 104 when she died. One of the things she loved to do also is serve cream cheese blocks with that. So when we'd go sit down at her table, you'd have cayenne pepper soup, and then you would have this tray of cream cheese cut into blocks. So you had little squares of cream cheese, and you would eat that cream cheese while you ate this super hot soup. Sometimes the memories are better later in your life than when you were little, because sometimes you're like, "Really, Grandma? Really? Do I have to eat that?" But now it's a very nice memory. But I'll never forget, my great-grandma she was Irish and English, very, 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 very English and very Irish. You know, you had your tea and you had your, you know, your spirit, your Irish spirit to go alongside of it. She always would wear her hair up. So she always had her hair up in a bun. She always had it up, so you never saw it down, but it was this pure white hair. And she had this huge comb, and she would comb it this way. Sometimes she had like hats. So like I actually have a hat here in storage from my great-grandma. It's not this one, but it's like something like this, and it's like from the 20s. It's like sits to the side and has a hat pin in it. And but she always wore her hair up, and I always wanted to know what it looked like down. So one morning we were on her front porch, and in Portland you would have a lot of times you'd have older houses would have porches that were enclosed because the weather was kind of bad much of the year, and then it was glass, and then you have a porch swing, and I love that porch swing because it bounced. It was like you could sit on it and just bounce. It was beautiful. I'd love to be out there with my sister. But she came out there one day and she sat down and she let us take her hair out and brush it. I'd never seen her before with long hair. It had always been up, and then all of a sudden it was super long and pure white. What's my point of this story? It's just to tell you kind of a little bit about where I come from. Two definitely very, very, very different families, and in classes and in society and all this stuff kind of clashing on some level. But I come from a very unique family. I'm sure that you do as well. Though we all come from very different families of origin, we are being called back to our original family, which is to be part of the family of Elohim and the family of Israel. So no matter where you come from, you are invited to come into the family and be part of Yah's family. How cool is that, right? So no matter how good or bad or wonderful or tragic your family's history is, your family of origins history is, or where that stands right now, you have a family. Isn't that cool? Yeah, he's asking us to come back home. I end all my stories with, "And she lived happily ever after." And yes, I will live happily ever after. I have chosen the narrow path to live happily ever after. So that ends my story today. So thank you for coming by to my very dirty storage unit. In fact, right before you showed up, I made that light fall and broke some of my bulbs. Definitely come again, okay? Bye-bye. Welcome back. I wanted to just explain just something for a second. I was inspired to do the story time segment by a little girl, one of my one of my little nieces, who we were at a dinner, and all these little kids were running around, and she comes and plops on my lap and she says, "Tell me a story." And I went, "Okay." And we're eating, and I just stopped eating, and she's sitting right there with her face right in mine, and she's just looking at me, and she's like, "Tell me a story." And so I said, "Okay, I'll tell you a story." So I told her a little story. She goes, "Tell me another one." And then I got done with that, and she goes, "Tell me another one." So I thought, oh man, I have so many stories to tell. So I thought that I would make a segment that was good for for kids to come watch and listen to a story, but then also for the adults to listen in. I have one more segment here that I'm going to show you that is inspired by my oldest daughter. So you saw Hadassah on the Israel travel tips. She inspires me constantly, but she is definitely a big fan of the feasts and of Israel, and she knows who she is. So she's like super fun to be around when. So that was easy to do with her. But with Maggie, she had an inspired idea. She wanted to do this little segment on the products that I make. So she offered, and I was so thankful that she did, and I jumped on it, you know, as any mom would. When your teenager says she wants to do something pretty cool for you, you're like gonna jump on it really fast. So we transformed our little living room into this studio here that you're gonna see, and she got inspired from the Antiques Roadshow. So I hope that you like it. She sees how much work I put into things and all the things that I create, and she wants to see these products get into the hands of Israel and people that believe and who need them. And so she wants to see her mama have success. So I think you're going to enjoy this segment called TM Treasures.
Hi everyone, and welcome to TM Treasures. So here we have 2 of your feast handbooks.
Yes.
You have one for the fall feast,
yes,
and then you have one for Shavuot.
Yes. And I'm working on the spring feast.
Nice.
So I'll be done with that before next spring feast season.
Awesome.
And I'm also working on Hanukkah and Purim as well, the winter festivals. So in the end, there's going to be 4 handbooks.
Nice. That'll be fun. Alright, so tell us a little bit about what's inside each one.
Alright, so these are huge, huge books that I'm calling handbooks, that I wanted to remember what each feast was about. So as I progressed through the course of learning about the feasts and celebrating the feasts, I wanted to keep track of what I learned, and it's just morphed into these huge books. So this one, the fall feasts, actually have all the fall feasts. It has everything from Yom Teruah to Yom Kippur to Sukkot to Shemini Atzeret in here, and it covers the feasts as in what's the command, what did Papa ask us to do for it, and what we can do, what did Yeshua teach on it, and how, as Melchizedek priest and Talmudin of Yeshua, like how can we mark that in a way that's going to honor the King, our Messiah, our brother. It has recipes, it has so many great things, traditions, suggestions, and it has teachings. It has just a ton of stuff in here. Also pictures from our own personal celebrations for inspiration. The Shavuot handbook is also packed. It's got the story in it. It's got you know, recipes and celebration ideas and the command and how to celebrate, or what Yeshua talked about, and teachings, and it's super good. You really need both of these now, actually, but I would suggest making sure that your library contains all of these, because man, they're so helpful, because every single year I forget. I come up to Pesach, I'm like, wait, what is Pesach about? But it's so neat to be able to go into here and, you know, and pull it out and remember. I love that segment. Thank you so much, Maggie and Hadassah, for helping me do those segments this summer. And so every Happy Hippie Hebrew Girl show, there's going to be those segments, and I'm still working on a few more, actually. So Isaac is here. Do what?
Maggie did a good job.
She did.
That was cool.
She did.
Her to do that.
Yeah, no, that was
fun.
That was unexpected. She suggested it.
She got some surprises in her. For sure.
Yeah, and
it's like her mama.
Both my girls are pretty cool. So they're rocking cool, actually. I love my girls. All right, and thank you for being here today. We're going to talk just for 30 minutes or so maybe a little less, we'll see, about planning the feast. So I want you to relax. However relaxing looks good on you. However relaxing looks... No, not that. I know you're tired.
Oh, I'm fine.
No. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if, like... Okay, this is not the actual book. I actually printed off these pages because my books aren't here yet. This is called the Biblical Feast Planner. Now, I know that some of the ladies in the Facebook group have gotten this, and I hope it blesses you. I'll probably revise it and edit it, you know, as time goes on to say, oh, this doesn't work, and I'm kind of known for that. But for now, it's just something to get you started planning the feast. So here's one of the biggest issues with Israel that is a problem. Yeah, I bet you know. They study, but the doing isn't quite there. It's changing, I have to say.
Okay.
So the ladies that I know in the group, and I'm talking, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the group, and in Facebook, I've created a private group for ladies and their families, but it's for ladies, for women. Right. It's called Ladies of Teshuvah, and it's a private group for support and input, and just a platform for me to speak to the ladies and to interact with them and support them, and they support me, and you know, it's super cool. It's a safe place. I'm very, very passionate about keeping it a safe place. And it's also Melchizedek minded, Melchizedek focused. So, I think the ladies in the group are inspired to walk out what they learn. So one of the issues is actually taking the head knowledge and moving it into heart knowledge. That's what this show is all about. The Happy Hippie Hebrew Girl is about moving your head knowledge into heart knowledge. Otherwise, the head knowledge is of no use. If you don't use it, then it's pointless.
Right.
So the planner here is something to help facilitate that. Now, you don't have to have it, but to listen to us for the next few minutes, but it definitely will help you as you plan out the feasts. And so I just want to kind of, before I engage you too much here, I want to just, the book itself is really huge. It's 316 pages, and it has like a ton of pages to help plan every single feast, from Shabbat to new moons to all the spring feasts and all the fall feasts and whatnot. So at the very beginning of the book, I have like a self-audit place where you're going to actually self-audit, you know, do a self-audit of how your attitude is towards the feast. And I gave him the self-audit. We talked about that on our Shabbat walk today. So
that was a good thing to do. Sometimes a little challenging to be honest about oneself, but it's good. Yeah. It's good.
Isaac's been through quite a week. It's been a rough week because, like I said, I talked to the ladies at our midweek show. You know, he just got a brand new job trucking and had to tell them, hey, I actually need Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday off of this week. And they're like, how do you expect to truck from Wednesday to Friday? Basically. Mm-hmm. But they're working with you.
And then next Thursday, and then the next Sunday, or the Monday and Tuesday following, and then another Monday and Tuesday after that.
Yeah, because you have Yom Teruah, which is a high Shabbat, on Tuesday, and so he can't truck Sunday and Monday. That's too short. He doesn't do local; it's the long haul. So he's got to get all. And then you have the next week is Yom Kippur, which that Thursday is the high Shabbat. So he has to have that day off, and so he's only going to be able to truck for a little bit that week. Then the next week is the first high Shabbat of Sukkot, Yeshua's birthday, and you've got the same situation the following week with Shemini Atzeret, the last great day. So it's definitely definitely a time of proving.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it is. Because this is where the rubber of repentance hits the road.
Right.
This is, you know... Like, oh, I know it. Ooh, I gotta give people the picture that we had.
Okay.
Get that on the.
Good. I'm gonna grab excuse me. I'm gonna grab my monitor so I can. So I can check.
Make sure the
comments.
sound. Oh, okay. So, I gave Isaac a word picture when we were out on our walk today. So basically, you know, there's this, you know, wondering what the bosses are going to do and stuff. And so they're a little bit of like, what are the bosses going to think? What are they going to do? So I said, okay, just close your eyes and imagine you have the two guys right here. What are their names? Never mind. Don't remember their names. But whatever. Two guys right here from the company, right?
Yep.
And you're facing them and you're worried about what they think about getting those days off and if they're going to, you know, have issue with that. And if in the end they're going to say, you know, you're not worth it, go away, we're going to get somebody else to take your truck. Or, and
Are they still going to like me?
are they still going to like you? That's what it is. Are they still going to like me? So, and then keep them right there. And then on this side, put YHVH Elohim, put Yeshua the King, put the Ruach HaKodesh, you know, and then say, who do I care about more? Who do I fear more? You know, if you just visualize, do the mental gymnastics to picture the two right there, I think it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. It should be pretty easy to like know who you care about more and who you fear more. The one who, you know, it's easy to just say. I mean, honestly, you know, we rattle off to each other, you know, texts and messages and emails and posts and stuff, and sometimes, you know, they're really good. I'm not saying they're not, you know, but sometimes they're trying to be encouraging by saying, you know, well, that shouldn't be an issue and blah blah blah. But you have a journey to go on, and you've got to bring your heart along for the ride, and so you have to be honest with your heart and how your heart is feeling about, you know, the situation, and so you can't just blanket cover everything and just go la 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 la, I'm fine, when you're not fine, or when, you know, la la la, there's not an issue when there is an issue, and just helping to get focused. And that's what I want to be here for. I want to help bring clarity. I want to help bring focus to Israel as they're entering into these issues, and I don't want to be like one of the preachers who just, you know, yells at you and says, you know, you dumb nut, why don't you got, no, I want to be strong, but I want to.
Well, sometimes I need to be smacked upside the head with a 2x4.
Well, I know.
But, no.
Michael Reed did that for us.
But, yeah. No, but you do that for me. Not the smacking part.
No.
But the reminding and stuff, and you're good at that.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's good.
I'm your easer.
Yeah.
I'm your easer.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so there's an audit at the beginning of the book. We're not going to go through that right now. But super good to like kind of take a look at what you think about how you feel, your attitude towards the feast. Okay, so here's the feast planner for Yom Teruah. And just getting started here, I'm just going to go down through a couple questions here. Get your pen and paper out, and we're going to just walk down through a few important questions. There's a lot of them on here, and so get the book, and then you can really sit down and just, you know, really go through if you're that kind of person. Otherwise, just, you know, wing it with me here. All right. Okay. Have you attended a Yom Teruah celebration before? If you have, so this is the idea, is if you're new to celebrating the feast, if you're new to planning it, how am I going to, for one, we've got to like know what it's about. We have to know what the feast is about.
Right, each feast. Each
feast. So we need to know what Yom Teruah is about. And we start by saying, what did Papa say about it? Mm-hmm. What did he say in the scriptures? So in, and maybe I'll just,
sure.
Let's do this right here. So this is my book that you saw in the TM Treasures, the Fall Feast Handbook. We have Yom Teruah. Where is it? Okay. Whoops. I think it's this way. I didn't have it handy. Okay. Yom Teruah Basics. We're going to look at the scripture. I'm just going to read the text to you. So Leviticus, does that say 23, 24 to 25, Numbers 29, 1 to 6 is where he tells us what he wants us to do for the Feast of Trumpets. I'm going to go ahead and leave that open there. Cool. So, and then after that, then we have to say, okay, how are we going to actually, you know, in the light of the sacrifice of Yeshua and what Yeshua has done, or who he is and what he's about, how does we know, what did he speak on? How did he fulfill it? If he did he fulfill trumpets? Not yet. How is he going to? That's important. So we do some study about it, but we have to take that study and then move it into action and actually celebrate. He tells us to celebrate. So how do we do that? That's what we want to talk about today. Mm-hmm. So if you've attended a Yom Teruah celebration before, my question is, did you like it? Or did you love it? Did you kind of like it, or did you not like it at all? And then I want to ask you, what did you love about it? What didn't you like about it? What would you change? So when you're planning something, you need to really look at what you've experienced before, and then say, okay, I'm going to add this, take this away, I'm going to do this sort of thing. If you've never celebrated it before, and you're not going to go somewhere to celebrate it, then play in it, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, lucky you. Then you get to...
I know.
Yeah.
Remember when we played in the feast?
Not a bad spot to be in.
No.
Yeah.
We got to play in the feast for a long time. He shut the door on all fellowship for us for a long time, kept us like isolated in the woods. And we got to like really look at how to do this. Now most of the time we always invited at least one person. I think we had some dogs one time, but anyway, no, I think we've always, we had like our neighbors. So it wasn't that we celebrated alone, but we didn't have the input of the messianic rabbinic nonsense. We were really able to play in the feast, and that was fun. Okay, so then you need to figure out, am I going to host it, or am I going to really pursue going to find an event to go to?
Right. So
not everyone is made to host. Not everyone is made to just sit in the seat, I would be sitting in the seat, twiddling my, I can do that. Absolutely. Actually, we went to the synagogue, down in Boise. We went there and celebrated with them lots, and that was fun. Got to sit back and kind of look how Brother Judah does things. And after a while, it was frustrating because they ignore Yeshua completely. Right. So we couldn't, do that forever, but that was fun for a while. Okay. So, in the idea of looking at the basics of Yom Teruah, it's a high Shabbat.
Right.
So that means that we have to rest.
Yep.
We're going to rest on that day. So we're going to look at some of those things. I think I have it later on in here. So look at page 68. Okay. So one thing, you look at what Papa says, and then you look at what Yeshua did or what he preached on during Yom Teruah. And I love the chronological gospels by Michael Rood because it helps us know where Yeshua was when he was preaching different things and when he did. So tell us here, if you read, see, this is the part I was really interested in. So 3 days before Yom Teruah, 2, 1, and then on the day, just summarize here. 3 days before Yom Teruah. Oh wait, that's not here. Go to the next page. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So, wait, I know what I was gonna do. I'm gonna tell you the verses. Okay. So 3 days before Yom Teruah. Why don't you give those verses and then the other ones? So just give the verses, and you guys can look them up and see what Yeshua was doing 3 days before Yom Teruah.
So it's Matthew 14, verse 13 to 21. Mark 6:32 to 44. And Luke 9:10.
Yeah, 10 to 17.
Okay. And then John 6:1 to 15.
That's what the chronological gospel says he was doing 3 days before Yom Teruah. And then 2 days before Yom Teruah, he was...
let's see. So that's Matthew 14:22 to 36, Mark 6:45 to 53, as well as verse 55. Yep. And then in John, it's chapter 6, verses 16 to 22.
Yeah, I don't have those really good.
As well as 24.
Yeah. Edit. And then 1 day before Yom Teruah. 1 day before Yom Teruah, we see...
is covered by John chapter 6, verses 25 through 66.
And 71. I guess it might go all the way to 71. And then the day 71. Of Yom Teruah, we see what Yeshua was preaching in...
both Matthew and Mark.
Yeah.
Matthew 15, 1 to 20, and Mark 7, 1 to 23.
So, yeah. I like that summary right there.
Okay, and so here's a summary of what he was talking about on those days right before Yom Teruah. It is clear that he preached on the resurrection, the last day, life, and the fact that we must see and believe that he is the prophet Moses spoke of, who we must shema, or obey. From what our rabbi focused on, we can conclude that Yom Teruah is all about the moment when he will gather his living or resurrect to life those who have been marked as his betrothed.
I'm so excited. So excited.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so we know what Papa said, and we know what Yeshua said. Well, I didn't go through exactly what Papa said yet, but we know what you look at what Yehovah says, and then you look at what Yeshua said and what he preached on during that. So we know it's about the resurrection. We know it's about life. We know it's about all these the last day, the day of Yehovah. So then. Then basically, I like to make a purpose for the information. So, there's so many great teachers on, online and stuff that there's not, I clarify that, not everyone is a great teacher. Not everyone is teaching truth, but there are some that are so amazing at understanding some of these feasts. And so as you learn details about it, like for instance, there's the idea of the hammered silver for the silver trumpets that are blown on Yom Teruah. What is this hammered about, and your frequency and all this other stuff, beautiful things. So these are things that you're learning about this feast. You're going to write them down on this side, and then what I like to do is say, how am I going to remember that next year? So I need to attach that to a tradition. If it's really important, then I need to attach it to a tradition so I can remember it. So that when the girls come together with us for this feast, we do this one thing that helps us remember what this beautiful thing is that we learned. So, I have an idea, Papa tells us to shout to Teruah on Yom Teruah, was about shouting. Okay, so something that we do is we gather together at the end and we do that group hug, and then we shout to Yeshua, come get us, and we say it really, really loud, and we shout at the top of our lungs. Or, the idea Papa said to watch for the new moon. You got to watch for that seventh moon. Oh, and by the way, I have. Oh, remember? Okay. All right. I was just sitting here in the studio waiting for the clock to tick down. Right. And I was reading to Isaac, and I just started reading, and listen to this. Listen to this. The moon. Okay. I am. Psalms 104:19. Check this out. Okay. The moon marks off the seasons, and the sun knows when to go down. And that word seasons is moed, which means appointments. It refers back to Genesis 1:14 or whatever that is. It talks about he made the moon and everything in the heavens for the moed. The moon marks off the moed. Hello, people. It's so simple. Stop complicating everything, people. Jeez. Sorry.
She means other people.
Yeah, I'm not talking about, hopefully I'm not talking about you, but whoever is making this calendar thing a huge issue, he's talking, we're not worshiping the moon by watching the moon like he told us to do, to observe that so that you can mark off the moed and find the moedim. So anyway, just a tangent, just a random tangent. Okay. Right. All right, and then there is a personal audit in the book for each feast. Mm-hmm. So, some feasts you might feel more comfortable being a guest than a host. To other feasts, whatever. Some feasts you might like organizing, and some you might look at the Seder on Passover and go, I don't think so, it's too hard. Or you might say, yeah, let me do it. And then there is, some questions here to say, how do you feel like you have to be in a church to feel, or a synagogue to feel like you're actually celebrating this feast, or can you be out on a picnic blanket with your family and still feel like you are honoring the king and stuff? So it's just some personal stuff to help you think through it. And then we're going to actually start looking at how to personalize your celebration. Mm-hmm. So we know what Papa said, we know what Yeshua preached about and did, and we're going to start to personalize it and make it our own. So we're going to look at what your current traditions are, if you have any. But what's most important is looking at your non-negotiables. I call them the non-negotiables, like what you absolutely have to celebrate. So what was, you were helping me with this earlier. What is our non-negotiables for Yom Teruah?
We observe the High Shabbat.
Right, because that's what Papa said, so we have to do that. Yeah.
Let's see.
One of the things that's super important is where our location for Yom Teruah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because we want to mark it, and so we want to
observe.
The high point is, or one of them is watching for that first sliver to appear in the sky.
Right. And the whole point of that is we're practicing on the moon, and someday it's going to be Yeshua, not the moon we're watching for.
Right.
Right. So we have...
So that translates then into where we will... Not where we'll spend the entire
evening.
24 hours.
Right, no.
But where we really mark the entrance into the day.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Which
is the evening before. So the Erev Yom Teruah. So as the sun is setting and that new moon appears, we like to have our feast table out in a space that has a big sky.
Yep.
So for us, that's a non-negotiable. All right. And then I have places for like what I love most about Yom Teruah, and what is, what is working about how I'm celebrating, what is not. So over the course of the years, Isaac and I and the girls have hosted over 200 biblical feasts for the King. And so we've learned through the course of that, like what works and what doesn't. And, we've taken away from each one, okay, we're not going to do that again. Or, oh man, that worked great. We want to do that again. So, each one kind of continues to be perfected and morphed into something that works for our family and those around us, but also children as they grow.
Yeah, that changes.
That changes the dynamics huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have little ones, the feast is going to look so much different than if you have, teenagers. Or if you have all boys, it's going to look different than all girls. I mean, my girls are like totally princess girls, so we do a lot of dressing up and do a lot of like foo-foo, if you want to say that, just real elegant sort of stuff. Okay, he doesn't do foo-foo. That's good. I'm glad you don't. But if you had boys, oh my, maybe it should be a rodeo / feast. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay, so on with this. Then I have a place for you to rate it. Like how much do you like it? 1 is I hate it. 10 is I am in love with it. And so I think this is. I'm trying to get at the idea of Papa says to delight in his ways, to delight in the feasts, and if we find them cumbersome or a burden, then we need to step back and we need to say what's going on. And we're doing that right now with Shabbat. We're trying to figure Shabbat out, the weekly Shabbat. Teenage girls makes it a little different, so we're working on that. So just the idea of stepping back and saying, taking an audit of it. Just don't bulldoze through all the feasts without thinking through, is this working? Is he pleased with this? Or are we fighting all the time? And that's not a good offering. If you're fighting all the time, probably would be better just to, not engage. Okay. And then challenges. Isaac, what are our challenges with... Yeah.
Because, one of our non-negotiables is to be able to view the sky.
Yeah.
And we're in North Idaho in the fall. Then, the weather.
Yeah, the weather is super tough.
Can make it interesting sometimes.
So the weather is our challenge. We've had rain forecasted, and it doesn't rain, or we've had wind, but somehow.
Yeah, so then we try to, compromise or, be realistic, but still achieve the goal. So, like, one year we were undercover, but near that open sky spot. So we could actually, like, duck out and run over there to look at the sky periodically.
Right.
Or...
One year... Yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, one year we were indoors.
Oh, that's right.
For the actual, like, sit-down meal and teaching part of it. But then we made a trip out. And
we did a little walk with everyone.
Outside.
Yeah, that was fun.
To look at the sky.
There's been a few times when we've actually been able to stay out. Well, not more than a few times. Lots of times. But, like, the wind is getting... And this is, like, I've told the ladies this before, that if I... Like, this is my offering to Papa, and so, like, if, I put out wine glasses and china and all this other stuff, and, if he wants to blow it away in a windstorm or dump a bunch of rain on it and flood it away, that's kind of his problem, so I'm not worried so much about what the weather does.
Yeah, and over all the years we've done this, that we've never gotten rained out.
No.
The year we were undercover...
It was a threat.
It was threatening, but it never actually materialized. And then the time when the wind actually was breaking wine glasses,
it
started to thunder and rain.
Right at the end.
At the end,
As we were
starting to pick up.
All the guests had gone home. It was just Isaac and my treasurer, Garrett, and I that were picking up the girls.
So pretty wild to be on Papa's time.
Yeah, that's what's so cool is when you see his thumbprints. I mean, we've gone to the beach with it cloudy, looking like it's going to rain, and he moves away the clouds, and can be a beautiful evening. So hopefully he's going to do that this Monday night because the forecast doesn't look so good. Okay, let's get going.
We'll keep you posted.
Okay, another thing that we do is we look at, as you're studying Yom Teruah, the feast, as all the feasts are coming up, and you're studying ahead going into the feast. So another thing that I'm a proponent on is don't jump ahead of Papa. Don't jump. Don't start thinking about Sukkot right now, outside of the fact I'm going here to probably spend Sukkot. Don't start studying Sukkot until after Yom Kippur, because you have a feast in front of you that's Yom Teruah that needs all your attention. So, when you're doing that, a lot of times the Rock will show you something and kind of make it come alive. And we call that like a theme, like something that kind of sits in your mind and your heart and you just keep contemplating. Like we really feel it. There's kind of, each feast has a theme, as in, obviously the Yom Teruah is about the King's return, but like within that, there's like something that pops up that we call a theme for that year, something he wants to highlight.
It's unique for that year in particular.
Yeah, so this year, like one year it was what's in your backpack. Like we had friends that were doing the whole prepping thing. And so we really felt the need to help people get a clue as to who they really, what prepping actually looked like according to Papa. Does it look like, stocking your cellar with food and having lots of ammo and stuff? Or what's prepping to Papa? So we really felt like that was super important. Yeah, and then the frequency of our trumpets, the hammers. So that was a great theme that year. We really focused on the sound of our trumpet, like the clearness, the frequency, so that people would know what was happening, that we weren't causing more chaos, kind of thing. So, and then one year it was like hope. It was like personal and then global hope that we were really feeling moved to talk about. But this year, there is a theme. I didn't think there was because I've been so busy on the show, but the theme this year for me is the state of the dead, like where we cut, and this is the reason, is because Yom Teruah is all about the resurrection.
Right.
And if we're already somewhere or floating around somewhere, there's no need for a resurrection. So I have actually a YouTube video coming out, a picnic table talk that I've done, and I've got to edit, and that will be up shortly. But so there's this theme that kind of comes out. All right, so this is a section in the book as we're going through Yom Teruah. We're going to think through it. So we're going to think through, where will you be spending Yom Teruah? So we're going to, are you going to do it at home? Are you going to do it at a friend's house, family's house, or a party venue, or other beach or whatnot? So the idea is to help you think through where you're going to do it. Then you're going to think through, what you're going to incorporate into the feast. Like, are you going to have special decorations or special foods or special clothes or guests, or who's coming, who's going to teach at it? If you need someone to do that, help you do that, a mentor. We had a mentor our first Yom Teruah. Joel came and we handed it over to him. We just set the table on the feast and said, please teach us about it. It was super cool. Are you going to have giveaways? Are you going to have crafts for the kids or activities? Like, how are you going to take offerings to cover expenses, or what are you going to have for people when they bring gifts to Papa, kind of thing, all that stuff. Like, here is a beautiful thing to think through.
Right.
This isn't something, this is the King's feast. I mean, this is huge. This is Papa's feast. You got to think through this and put your whole heart and soul into it and be creative and within the boundary that he's given us, and use our everything, I'm doing the following by myself. So you're going to, I'm doing all the planning, catering, shopping, advertising, financing, all that. Or I have people helping me, and then who's helping me with these things? And this is probably the best part of the book, is this part of each feast. It's where you write in, the special location we'll be having. So where are we going to have ours on Monday night?
On the beach.
On the beach. And then list the important things you need for the venue to accommodate. We're going to need our table, I need to like iron our tablecloth. I need the spool for the center. And we need all the plates and all the dishes and all the trumpets and
torches.
Lots of torches.
Yep.
Lots of light.
And lots of food.
Lots of food.
Of course.
Yeah, that's your favorite part, huh?
Well.
Yes, it is. It's my apple cake.
It's right up there. That's for sure.
You can win a man through his stomach. I'm telling you, ladies. No potluck here on this girl's feast tables for my king. No potluck. I have organized food. All right. Decorations, and so then you could write down the decorations that you need, which would be like we're talking about the table, the tablecloth, the centerpieces, the candles on the table, that sort of thing. What special clothes will we wear?
Right.
Yeah, we do that. I have half my closet is feast clothes. Seriously, like I have feast clothes for Yom Teruah that we don't wear any other time but Yom Teruah, and I'm often updating them and buying new ones. You know, and we're talking secondhand here. We're talking consignment. We're talking like, you know, I find some great stuff at the Goodwill. So, well, yeah, we have that. The food, and then and we wear white on Yom Teruah, and that's you know. Okay, so then let's see. I want to make it special. What food? So the food, we have apple cake. We have apples and honey. We have grape juice. We have challahs with apples in it. You know, and I'm gonna add a new friend on the Facebook group. She gave me a spiced apple butter recipe. Super excited to try that. But you know, a lot of the food is tradition, so the girls really look forward to it, like tabbouleh and pita chips and, you know, that sort of stuff. So anyway, be careful when you're starting traditions with kids that will hold you to it. All right. Then people you want to invite. You know, for us, we do a kind of a public announcement through Eventbrite. And then activities. What activities you're going to do at the feast? This is super important. How are you going to keep people engaged? What's your schedule like for the feast? You know, I don't know. I'm big into that. I like
it's not a free-for-all. No,
I don't like free-for-alls. I don't like. I need a schedule. I need events. I'm a programmer. I think it's helpful to your audience. I want to think about my audience and how they're feeling, because I've been to things where you walk in and you have no idea what's going on. You have no idea who's in charge. You know, everybody's too scared to stand up and take charge. I like program. I just come from that background.
Structure.
I like structure. Yeah, I do. At least for things like this, an event. You know, you structure. You know, a soccer match. You structure. I used to be a swim coach. You had a structured event. You know, I don't want to come to the king with, you know, laissez-faire. Anyway, okay. And then at the end, there's this Yom Teruah event feast schedule. So you're going to actually write down the celebration date, the location, the start time, the end time. You know, if you have anything to give your guests, what are you going to give? I give 7 gifts out. They're wrapped and everything for in honor of the 7th moon. And I also give a gift to the person who sights the moon the first time.
Yeah, that's always fun.
That's fun. And then the activities you'll do, how you'll close it out, and then a planning section. When will you invite people and how? That's a big part of this. We use Eventbrite. You know, we've tried everything. We've tried texting, we've tried calling, we've tried in person, we've tried snail mail, we've tried eBrite, and it pretty much just doesn't. You know, it doesn't matter. It's the Ruach who's going to bring or not bring. I can pour myself out trying to invite, and she has other things in mind. All right. And then you prepare for it, your little checklist to how to prepare for it. And then new traditions you might want to add next year. You know, my friend Wendy had a really cool trumpet list of, you know, every time you blow a shofar, you know, you quote the scripture of when they blew it and what it means and stuff. I think that's great. Anyway, and then you summarize the, Yom Teruah, the points of it, and how you're going to celebrate it this year. Anyway, I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. Just kind of open your mind, try to get you to start thinking. I hope you've already been thinking about it, but honestly, I've been slamming up to this show. So tomorrow morning, bright and early at 5 a.m. when I wake up, I'm going to like, focus on Yom Teruah, and we're going to have a great, great feast event for the king. Yeah, and I can't wait till he comes back. Oh. So,
Okay, so where is the feast planner if somebody wants one?
Oh, it's on what's it? Lulu.com. If you just go to www.lulu.com and go in their search bar and you search feast planner, it should come up. If you want to say feast planner Rebekah Garvin, it should come up, and then you can buy either the ebook or the book. I think the book is still half off until tomorrow at midnight. So,
okay.
If you're watching this video later, I'm talking September 9th, 2018.
Right.
So.
And does that planner cover like all the fall feasts?
Yes, everything.
Or the whole year?
The whole year. It
Okay.
has weekly Shabbats, new moons. It has Passover, unleavened bread, resurrection, first fruits, ascension, Shavuot, Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Shemini Atzeret, Hanukkah, and Purim.
Okay.
For all from a Melchizedek standpoint. So yay! All right. So I have
Okay.
a little. Do you have anything else you want to say?
So just summarize. So
Summarize.
when you
Okay.
the purpose of the planner, you've gone to a lot of work to walk people into this process, and what's at the heart of it again? What's the
heart of it is moving your head knowledge into heart knowledge. The heart of it is trying to help you have a place to plan out the feast. To say, I know this about the feast. Now, how do I execute a beautiful celebration and invite my family, my husband, my family, my kids, my friends, in community into this and offer this as a gift to the King?
Good.
That's really at the heart of this.
cool?
All right, so thank you, Isaac. It is Shabbat is setting. The sun is setting outside. It is over, and I have a special video for you. It's just a short one. It's about a really nice way to close out Shabbat. So thank you for listening to Isaac and I. We will see Isaac again later, but here is our close. I like to close Shabbat with a small ceremony called Havdalah. Havdalah is dividing the holy day from the work days. It's important to somehow guard the edges of Shabbat.
Can we blow it out now?
All right, there you go. And then we say goodbye, Shabbat. Bye. See you next week. There are so many ways that you can enter and exit Shabbat. If you do it like our brother Judah does it, you'll need a Kiddush cup for talking about overflowing joy, a Havdalah candle to talk about when the two become one, spices for talking about how to be a fragrant aroma to the King. Whatever you do, separate Shabbat out. Teach your children how to do this, and do it beautifully. May the ways of YHVH Elohim, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, burn into the minds and hearts of the next generation. Okay, so just to close out, I just wanted to invite all the ladies over to the Ladies of Teshuvah Facebook group for a small 15-minute fellowship to say hi. I also have a free gift for you if you come over there. And if you're new and you are not part of the ladies group, please go over there and request to join. I hopefully will be able to do that on the fly. If not, I will get it by tomorrow and look at your membership request. But I also wanted to just make sure that you know I love mail. So there's our address. So I really love mail. I love just hearing from you. It's just very encouraging for me, and I also I'm here for you, and would love to know that you're out there. So in closing, I just have one thing that I wanted to end with, and that is Yeshua's blessing to his Melchizedek priest. So we kind of have gotten into the habit of, the Aaronic blessing and stuff, which is beautiful, but I also want to look at what Rabbi Yeshua said to his followers. And so Yeshua's blessing to his priests on the way to the Garden of Gethsemane, and I have taken some of his some thoughts in that whole section there that he's talking to them, and I've put it into a little form that I want to bless you with. He says, I have given them your word, and the word I have given them your word, and the world has hated them. I do not pray that you would take them out of the world, but that you would keep them from evil. Sanctify them through your truth. Your word is truth. I in them, and you in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that you have sent me, and have loved them as I have loved you. Let's see, and have loved them as you have loved me. I'll get better at saying this. I have declared your name to them, and I will declare it, so that the love wherewith you have loved me may be in them, and I in them, that they may be one as we are one. So the whole idea here is he is blessing his priest, and what he's saying is he's blessing them with Yah in them as Yeshua is in Yah. So I mean, it's so beautiful, and it has everything to do with the Feast of Unleavened Bread and eating of Yeshua and getting Yeshua in us. It is so important for your salvation to get Yeshua in us, and here is his blessing to his priest at the end of his time here, right before he goes to the cross. He's blessing his disciples, his Talmudim, with the idea of getting Yah in them, as he is in Yah and Yah is in him. So you're going to get Yeshua in you. You're going to get Yah in you. That's what I want to bless you with tonight. All right? So have a wonderful evening, and Laila Tov. Laila Tov.
Your generous and faithful support is much needed in order for our ministry to thrive. If you have benefited from our work, then please become a patron today. Visit www.patreon.com/Rebekah Garvin to give your support. Thank you.